Hey guys, welcome back. I have a fun one for you today. So, little story before we introduce Jacob and everything we're talking about today. About 4 years ago, when Jamstack was just launching and figuring out manufacturing partnerships, Jamstack is a physical product that we launched out of Toronto a few years ago. And when Jamstack was arranging overseas manufacturing and getting the bill, it was tens of thousands of dollars. Think of wiring the manufacturer that much money. What are you paying in overseas transaction fees if you go through traditional banks, right? So you get a message on LinkedIn from Jacob. And usually I ignore most LinkedIn messages because LinkedIn is known for spam. But something about Jacob when he's like, hey, I'm a Jamstack backer. I think I can save you guys literally thousands of dollars in transaction fees. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I don't know, but let's move. And so to this day, Jacob ended up working with Jamstack and working with me and several of our clients through OFX. And OFX is, because it's a company that we've used to save hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, depending on the scope of the currency you're moving every month or every year. It was an area where personally, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't realize how much money banks take from us in transaction fees. And OFX just offered a better way. And now today, I actually want to have a conversation with Jacob about how this is an area in your business that you might be grossly overpaying for, and how you can actually add a lot more money back into your pocket just by changing how you pay things such as overseas manufacturing, such as overseas employees, and even getting paid by overseas. And anyway, we're going to get into all that today, but that's really the purpose of this interview today, because I think that so many sellers don't know what you don't know, and it's actually costing you an obscene amount of money every month. So we're going to look at a better way today through OFX. Jacob, welcome.
Thank you very much, Khierstyn.
So
happy to join.
Jacob Khierstyn is my contact with OFX. We have been working closely together for a little over 3 years now, since working with Jamstack and actually setting up a few of our clients over with better currency solutions for foreign exchange. But before I let Jacob take over, I just want to say that one thing that's super exciting for a big piece of news for OFX is that they just became the official foreign exchange provider for the NHL, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. It's a 5-year relationship that we've just signed off this year. It's been a great learning spot for us, and it's been great for our brand. It's actually been great for our clients as well, because we've been able to bring some of our clients over and thank them for being a part of what we're doing for OFX, and getting them to Nashville for the Stadium Series, which was a lot of fun. And then we also were able to get a few of our clients out and meet some new partners at the Heritage Classic, which was over in Hamilton this past in the winter there a few months ago.
It was just incredible, because when I think, so I don't come from a banking background. I am a science major, self-taught marketer. How the foreign exchange industry works is really over my head. And so I think I'm a good guinea pig to have a conversation from like a beginner of like what you don't know that you don't know. So with the NHL, for example, what kind of transactions does a corporation like that do overseas that would warrant them having a global exchange provider like this?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, there's so many exchange parts. There's so many payments that are going out. There's a lot of payments that are coming in from TV rights. So there's a lot of payments from the league that are being distributed out to teams. Mm-hmm. Teams themselves are making payments to the players. They're making payments out to scouts. It's kind of endless, the amount of payments that are coming on. As for the NHL, they just have a lot of transactions that they're doing themselves that we help just get them better exchange rates. We keep it very transparent, and we make it sometimes a lot easier than even they would from their banks.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Because when I see, like I lived in London for a couple years, and I went to the NHL office in London. But outside of that, I wasn't aware that the NHL had any need to be outside of the US with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it by the sounds of it, it looks like they're going to be growing. Obviously, with the NHL is going to want to grow sport, and hockey is a huge sport in Europe. And I think coming down the line, they're going to be having some games that are in Europe in the next few years. So, hopefully we get to go to those too.
Yeah. which would be great, showing the
Yeah,
Finns and Scandinavians who's boss.
that's right. Yeah.
So, but awesome. Okay, so when I get questions about OFX, one of the main questions I get is, what is it and why do I need it?
Right.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, again, what you said, you specialize in building businesses, or you specialize in your own business, and you're trying to find ways just to receive funds, sell your product, and you're not really thinking about, well, how much am I paying the bank to even just pay this invoice?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when you're working with banks, it's just it's not very transparent. And what we try to do at OFX is make sure that people are educated in what they're paying, educated in what's going on in the market, should they be interested in that, and then understanding where they can make some savings. So a lot of times you're paying a wire fee to make your payment over in a different currency.
Yep.
And then on top of that, there's an exchange rate. And that's another large part, depending on the volume that you're paying, that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So getting that exchange rate, that exchange rate that you see when the bank tells you here's what you're transacting at, as low as possible, is a real gain. You needed a euro account, you needed a US dollar account. All those things take you time, they take you money. We're able to do it a few clicks of a button, and you're set up with an account that you can offer bank details, that is a bank account in your own name, that allows your clients to pay you directly into that account in local currency.
Yeah. So I'm in the coaching and online marketing space, I guess you could say. So my customers and my transactions are slightly different from the online sellers that are going to be watching this video. But for example, I had a really good conversation with one of our new clients out of Australia, and he's like, "How can I pay you?" And I said, "Well, you can pay Visa through Stripe, or you can actually just pay us in Australian dollars locally through wire transfer." He's like, "How can you do that?" I'm like, "Well, OFX has set us up with multiple currency accounts for some of the leading currencies that we need to get paid in." So this guy was able to essentially wire local Australian dollars to that global account, and then it somehow in the ether gets translated into Canadian dollars, and I can manage multiple currency accounts from within one dashboard without having to have an Australian bank account and then somehow figure out that transfer from Australia to Canada on my own, which was super cool. But how an online seller can use that is, let's say you accept wholesale orders. Let's just say you're based out of Canada, but you want to be able to take lump sum wholesale payments out of US suppliers. You can have them wire you that money to your USD account. Or if you have suppliers out like wholesalers out of Australia or China, you can also have methods to have them pay you in your local currency set up through that. So it just makes it so much easier for the customer to be able to pay in their own currency.
Yeah, and you touched on a couple of things. So you said that you could offer them the option to make a payment in Stripe. And actually our global currency accounts are connected to Stripe as well. And so if you had done that transaction with Stripe, received the funds into your Stripe wallet, so to speak, for them to move the funds of Australian dollar back to Canadian would cost you over 2% to do that transaction, right? With us, if you were to move that Australian dollar into your Australian dollar global currency account and then move the funds back, then you'd receive it at probably like 1%. So you'd be saving 1% at least on those transactions. The second part about that is that we're actually able to work with the market and kind of find a target rate for you that might be more beneficial, because the market's always moving, and it's getting better or worse, moving in and out of your favor. And we can take advantage of that and help you get better exchange rates when you want to move money back.
Right. And one thing that wasn't clear to me actually, because up until I know we just opened up I've been working with the global USD account for about 3 years, and we just opened up the Australian, EU, and just other currencies a few months back. So that's still fairly new to me. But in the past, say this Australian guy would have paid through my old USD account versus now paying to my Australian dollar account. Is there a difference in fee now for him because that transaction doesn't have to be converted from Australian to US to Canadian?
Well, typically you would be moving the funds Australian dollar to CAD. Now we have global currency accounts that are in US dollar, Canadian dollar, euro, pound, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, Singapore dollar, and New Zealand dollar. So we have a few currencies that you can receive on that.
Gotcha.
When your client in Australia wanted to make that payment over, they're probably looking at an international wire. And if you were offering them just your Canadian bank account, you would be potentially asking for Australian dollar, but they would be sending to a Canadian bank account, which would be changed into CAD for you without you knowing. Okay. So they would be charged, or you would be charged whatever that price would be. So when you send your Australian invoice, or if you send a Canadian invoice to them, they have to deal with their own bank fee plus the wire fee. For them to receive a local invoice, which we would help you provide, you'd be able to then pay in local currency. They're quite happy. Then they have to make a local wire, which in Australia is virtually nothing. And then we can move the funds back very easily.
Gotcha.
And the other thing that you mentioned was the US dollar accounts. And for Canadians, there's a lot of Canadians that actually hold a US dollar account as well. And a lot of times they might think, well, I have a US dollar account, I don't need this. But the savings is there, and we can help with that as well, because if you move any funds into a US dollar, even if it's in your US dollar account, the exchange rate that you have to pay to move into Canadian dollar still could be upwards of 3%, and that's where we can save you again.
Yeah. And awesome. What kind of businesses do you see benefiting most from OFX?
Well, it's funny. We run kind of a long list of industries that use FX, and that's the most interesting part, I would say, about working in this industry is that there's no business that is kind of exposed or isn't exposed to global currency market, especially if you're trying to buy product from the US or China overseas, or you're trying to sell online in any way, in Amazon, Shopify, whatever it might be. There's implications in receiving foreign currency. So we're seeing a lot of people who are selling online, marketplaces, selling on Amazon, Walmart, Rakuten, whatever it might be. And then we see just small to medium-sized businesses that are distributors, say in Canada. They might be boat or RV dealers to green energy distributors through Canada, US. We really see it all. And then, of course, we have clients that are, partners and like the NHL, where they're, on a whole other level, and they're looking for hedging strategies to take advantage of volatile markets.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because, when I look at the types of payments that people can do with this, because even online sellers right now that are watching this thinking, well, we don't do a lot of global transactions. Like, I guess does OFX, does it take monthly fees? Does it matter how many transactions the merchant or whoever is using?
No, it's not. I mean, that's the best part about using OFX is that it's actually a free account. The only time that we're making revenue is when we actually do a transaction for you. And when we do a transaction for you, you're probably saving money. So that's where we make our fee, and it's going to be less than what you'd be paying in your current provider. So that's the benefit. And we're a volume broker. Obviously, if you're doing small amount of payments, we hear that a lot. Oh, I don't do enough. Well, oddly enough, it takes no time to set up an account with us. And from there, you think you don't have a lot of volume and you don't want to be a hassle, but that's not the case. We're helping clients who are making, $1,000 payments a month to, millions of dollars per month or on certain payments. We run it all, and we provide the same level of service for everyone.
Yeah, love it. What is one thing that people should know about OFX and using OFX?
Well, one of the best things about OFX, I think, is just its inception. So we're over 25 years old. We're publicly traded on the Australian Stock Exchange, and we actually are open 24 hours a day, just with the way that we kind of have set up globally. We have offices all across the world, which allows us to have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week service. So something that your bank may not have is that you can't make a trade at a certain time of day. So say at 4:30,
Yeah.
everything closes. With us, you can actually take advantage of the global market and sometimes acquire a better exchange rate that might actually hit in the, say, Asian markets overnight while you're sleeping.
Right.
The other nice thing is that our online platform is so easy because our company was actually founded by some surfers from their garage, and they had a blog post, and they initially brought that news to their friends, and it turned into what is now a global foreign exchange company. But that being said, it's just a very user-friendly platform because we have kind of a DNA for consumer and helping an individual make payments globally.
Nothing frustrates me more than watching archaic brick and mortar local banks try to make it online and go online, and then you can't navigate their online interface because you're like, well, where are my documents? How do I do an e-transfer? How do I do all these things? And I know when I was first pitched OFX, I was like, I don't get it. But then I was set up with an account and I was like, oh geez, okay, it's real simple.
So it's really simple. One of the main reasons is just the language that's being used as well.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of technical terms, we're saying your payee receives, right? And it's very easy language that anyone can digest and make it easy to make payments.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of my superpowers, I think, is I'm very good with complex things. But when it comes to tech or being able to visualize something, like if you're trying to explain OFX to me in the beginning and I'd never seen it, my brain just can't compute. But if I see it, I'm like, I totally understand. And I think that's what makes me really good at understanding how businesses can improve the customer journey or interfaces, because my brain is like built to really simplify complex things. And honestly, that was one of my favorite things about OFX is the learning curve is 5-10 minutes. And I'm not dumb. It's just like when I look at something and I see this complex monster, my brain shuts down and I'm not going to use the service. So I think part of what keeps me coming back with OFX is how easy and intuitive it is and how big of a problem it solves and how simple of a solution it is.
Yeah. And the nice thing about that is we have so many different types of users, right? Yourself, you want to understand the product, but then you want to use it online. And once you understand the online platform, it works so nicely for you. Yeah. Go up a level, and we have CFOs who want to talk strategy. They understand they have payments coming up in a few months. How do we manage what's coming up in the markets so that maybe we can hedge against the volatility? And then that's another conversation. And when we have that, we actually have a dealer that would be designated to your account and would be able to provide you with all the information that you would want so that you can talk through to them and talk through your process and have them understand your payment as well. So there's kind of a two-pronged approach.
Yeah.
We'll get you the savings, but then the value of having 24-hour-a-day service, a personalized dealer, all those sort of things are going to help impact a better price in the market or just get better exchange rates altogether.
Yeah, for sure. And so, by the way, guys, if you are interested in trying out OFX, I am not an affiliate, but we have included a link below through our website that you can check out the OFX, the account, give it a shot. I can absolutely vouch for it. It's been really awesome with me, and we've had our clients say nothing but awesome things about using it. So check it out below. But Jacob, I guess my last question would be, is there anything I should have asked you that I haven't?
You've been pretty good. I think some of the things that a client would want to ask is, where do I get started? Of course, it's very easy for us to just get, you can go onto our website and have a look. Obviously, you're providing a link, which will be very easy. Yeah. You can always reach out to us. Our sales team is extremely strong at answering any questions, and they're very patient to help anyone with the questions that they may have to understand it. Because remember, the tough thing about this is that like yourself, you came in and didn't understand anything about FX. You just knew that you wanted to have savings. And that's the big thing, right? We want to provide education so that you can focus on building your business and not have to worry about everything else.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been saying OFX. How do we actually say it, and does it stand for something?
Oddly enough, we are OFX,
Okay.
and it's our stock ticker is OFX on the Australian Stock Exchange. It does stand for Oz Forex, which we used to be.
Okay.
We used to have globally Oz Forex. We used to be named Canadian Forex in our office in Toronto.
Right.
US Forex globally, but we created a global brand when we went public. So now, just OFX.
Okay, cool. Because as you were saying, OFX or something, I was like, got to make sure we get that.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, guys, links below. And if you're listening on the podcast, the link is launchandscale.co/OFX. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to introduce you to the OFX team. But Jacob, this has been a pleasure as always. And I look forward to more conversations with you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.